I am going live right now because I didn't have the opportunity to film a video for today. And I really like going live whenever I have the opportunity. Say opportunity. Anyway, if you are new here, my name is Lindsey. Like I said at the beginning, I put out a lot of content here on the YouTubes with Ketovore related content, which is, by my understanding, my definition, a high protein, moderate fat, low carb way of eating. Ketosis is just a metabolic state. It's not a food or a food group or anything like that. I eat in a more conducive way to having a more keto state of being. And yeah, I wanted to follow up my last sit down chat about being boring. I am in a season of life that has a lot going on. We are in the process of packing up to move houses and try to get this house ready for its next stage of house existence, life, what have you. And so we're trying to go through and wrap up homeschooling year. We're trying to pack up things that we don't need for the very short term period of time. We just got home from visiting family in a different state, which was a huge blast. And I've already got my mind sort of focused on what we're going to be doing for curricula next fall, or this coming fall, I should say, trying to get that all laid out. I've got like all of my lesson planner books here in my lap. I have been hyper focused on that. And what else? We have our church's vacation Bible school coming up in just a couple of weeks. So I'm helping to teach one of those classes, and I'm pulled 1,000 different ways at this moment, and I'm excited about it because there are so many fun things that are involved in that. I am excited that we're almost done with the school year. I'm excited that we're just, you know, we've got a lot of perpetual motion going here, and it's good. And I have been having to practice the art of being flexible. And my discussion last week about being boring is really sort of segueing nicely into this be flexible idea that has just really been nagging at the back of my brain. And ultimately, we went to travel to go see family. They do not eat the same way as we do, and they are very mindful about what they eat and how they choose to fuel their bodies, but their understanding of nutrition is somewhat different than mine. And being flexible and being willing to go with the flow on a lot of things is extremely valuable, and it really goes a long way to creating a comfortable environment for everyone, because whenever you're staying with family, they want you to be comfortable, they want you to have what you need, they want to make sure you feel fully like embraced there. And it's really difficult to do that if they don't know what you do or why you do it or the nuance of what you do. And so my side of it is, I'm going to just be flexible. There were some different keto treats that were 100% within the realm of keto friendly that were very good. They did tear my stomach up a bit because my stomach doesn't like sucralose, and that was one of the ingredients. It was used in a small amount, but my stomach just does not tolerate sucralose. Sucralose. That's fun to say. It doesn't tolerate that very well. And I was willing to just go with the flow. It meant that there was some discomfort through the rest of that particular day, but I got through it. We still had a grand old time. There were a variety of meals where there were options for those who still eat carbs, who still eat a standard American diet, for those of us who wanted to just have the meat and the vegetables. Everything was well accommodated, and I was able to be flexible and just sort of go with the flow. I also was willing to be flexible with myself and having some dairy. I didn't go in and have cream in my coffee, or have a ton of cream cheese and a ton of sour cream or yogurt or anything like that, which usually those things cause me to have major cravings. Instead, I was flexible enough to say, oh, this has cheese on it. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. It's great. Thank you so much. I appreciate the effort you've gone to here. Well, hello, Neely. Well, good afternoon to you. I'm assuming it's like, what, about 11 a.m. where you are? But all of that to say, like, the flexibility is what really allows us to not lose course whenever it comes down to, am I going to stay on my mission of eating the way that I know helps my body versus eating a way that is just throwing all of it to the wind. And by being flexible, that allowed me to thoroughly enjoy my time with our family. It allowed my family to, or our family, it's my husband's side of the family, but they're mine too. They got to enjoy me. I got to enjoy them. We got to have fun together. We did a whole lot of stuff. We had go-kart rides, and we had drone flying, and we had go-karting, and just playing and setting up patios, and it was just a lot of fun, a lot of just romping around the woods and enjoying one another's company that we have not gotten to do in quite some time. So I was willing to be super flexible. If all there were was, like one night we did taco salads. Perfect plan for everybody. If you eat the chips, fantastic. If you don't eat the chips, nobody cares. And it's just like those kind of like wide variety of smorgasbords on the, kitchen counter where you can just come by, pick and choose what you want. Those things work beautifully. Now, if we would have had only things like, I don't know, like a spaghetti bake or something to that effect, I would have probably been extremely flexible and had a small amount of that meal in order to not make anybody else feel super miserable or upset at themselves, just for the sake of trying to embrace the moment and not ruin that. And I have done that in the past. Whenever we first started this low carb way of life, it was 2016, and I had gone home to Texas for the first time since the previous Christmas. So it was about a 4-month period between the time that we had seen my family the last time until we saw them again. And I had been on my low carb way of life, the keto way of life, at that point for probably 4 months, because I started in January. My grandmother, whom is the most precious soul in my life, wanted to have me over to her house for lunch. She wanted to order Popeye's chicken. She wanted to make root beer floats. She wanted to have big piles of baked macaroni and cheese. She wanted to do like the green bean casserole. She wanted it all. She wanted to have all the comfort food that she was accustomed to making. I mean, not the Popeyes, she ordered the Popeyes, but you know what I mean? She wanted it to be like it was when I was younger. And I could not break her heart and tell her, Grandma, I am going to struggle mightily if I consume this food. I told her, this looks amazing. Thank you so much. And in the process, I was super flexible in that moment. I learned out. I was going to say figured out, but then learned came through. And so now we've got a little bit of a weird phraseology there. It's okay. We're moving forward. I learned really quickly in that scenario that those kinds of foods cause massive triggering, massive hunger pains, massive headaches for me. So from that point forward, for the rest of that particular trip back in 2016, I chose to be very stringent with myself. I was at my parents' house, so I could do that. But it's one of those situations where it's like the relationship matters so much more than the food I'm consuming in a one-time situation. If it would have been an all-day, everyday situation, that would have been another story. I would have redirected and tried to guide things a little bit differently. But a one-time meal compared to a lifetime relationship, the meal is not worth having some kind of confusion over or some kind of discomfort in the relationship over. So being flexible in those moments is huge. We went to Scotland. I know I've mentioned that a handful of times. And one of the meals specifically that we ate was a Venezuelan refugee wanted to bless us with a meal that was traditional to his culture. And oh, I tell you what, that is a moment where you don't refuse, you don't insult the person by saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't eat these things." All of that to say, there was some discomfort on the follow through of that situation. The man made us massive ice cream sundaes because he heard that that was the pastor's favorite thing. So I had to sit there and eat a few bites at least of like regular plain old ice cream and bananas. Oh, bananas. The flavor is great. The amount of sugar that was on my tongue was just overwhelming. But ultimately, it blessed that man and did not insult him because I chose to eat something that he willingly gave to us when he had so little. And it's one of those moments where the flexibility is ultimately what matters. Being boring and being able to have a streamlined way of eating means that whenever these weird little one-off situations come up, you can be flexible because you can go right back to being boring after the fact. I would not choose to go off plan anymore, or not off plan, I guess. I would choose to not eat things that don't really cause my body to feel its best. But in those situations, you just got to do what you got to do. The next piece is we are, in fact, moving to a new house, and that is coming up rather quickly. We thought we were going to be sort of waiting a little bit longer for the sellers to give us possession of the house. It's all in contracts and things like that. So we were expecting a certain date. They are moving forward more rapidly, which we are stoked about. At the same time, my intention before, whenever we thought it was going to be a longer lead time, was that I was going to go through and prep up some freezer meals that were going to be very, I don't know, easy and handy to be able to just pull out, pop in the air fryer, something that will not be packed in a box, and be able to make dinner for us in an instant. I was going to have breakfast burritos for my husband. I was going to have sandwiches, breakfast sandwiches for the girls, pancakes for the girls. I'm not trying to flip y'all off. I just have my pen in my hand. But ultimately, I was going to have more options available in the freezer because it's a few miles distance from here. It's not like we're having to pack up and move across the country again. It's a local move. So my plan was to have a whole bunch of things in the freezer that we could quickly and easily make so that we weren't having to run out and get food, run out and we have our favorite wing place. So that we weren't having to buy wings all the time, or so that we weren't buying a rotisserie chicken or having to figure out like, where is my cast iron skillet? Where is the grill? Where is this? Where is that? It's just, when you're moving, there's just enough going on, and it's just enough chaos to make you pull about 80% of your hair out, but you still press on. So my plan was to be prepared for that. I don't know that I'm going to have the time to make that happen anymore, just for the sake of not having as much lead time as I anticipated, and we are super jazzed to get into the house. We could take all the time we want, but we're like, we want to get into this house so bad. Just the kitchen alone just makes my heart flutter. But I'm going to have to be flexible and be willing to say, we're going to have to get takeout. We're going to have to do this. We're going to have to rely on some convenience meals like a Quest pizza. I don't know about y'all, but like, they're tasty. They don't do a whole lot for my swelling or for my water retention or for just like my hunger in general. Like, it does cause me to have some more cravings because it's loaded with cheese. And that's just sort of the flexibility that I'm going to have to exercise right now. I'm in a little bit of a stressful zone too, just for the fact like all the things are happening all at once. They're all good stressors, but they're still stress. So I'm more drawn to eating my nuts and cheese. I'm trying to limit that, but I'm being flexible with myself in the season I'm in right now. And that just really, I don't know, it's just where we are right now. Say right now, say now, say now, say now. Oh my word. Can you tell that I repeat myself over and over again? Yeah. I also really, really feel like I have to keep talking all the time. I have missed a couple of comments. Let me come back here and read these. Okay, so Neely did pop on if you're on the replay, and we talked about the time. It's practically noon. I'm sure it's noon by now for you. Hello, Judy. Hi, Suzanne. And Judy said, you love the examples that I was giving, and it makes so much sense. And I appreciate that. It is one of those things where relationship is so valuable. I feel like we are created for relationship, and my relationships in my life are not something that I'm willing to let suffer or let fall by the wayside or cause rifts in over silly things like ways of eating. And I'm also not willing to cause stress to the other persons in my relationships, like cousins and things like that. There is no value added whenever I go through and say, well, actually, this is the way I eat because this thing reacts this way in our bodies chemically, and this is how that reacts in these receptors. You know, I could totally nerd out on them with those things, or I could just say, thank you so much. This is a beautiful spread. You make a gorgeous salad. I ate a lot of salad. I don't typically eat a lot of salad. I'm also noticing the under eye bags are real strong today. Be blessed. I don't typically eat a whole lot of salad, but my husband's cousin is, you know, she loves salads. My husband loves salads. It was just one of those things where it was an easy way to get lunch ready that wasn't super hot because we were in a South Carolinian town where it is very hot. So I was just like, I'm happy to eat the salad. I'm happy that there is grilled chicken. I'm happy that there is salad. I'm happy that there is oil and vinegar dressing. We're gonna roll with this. It's gonna be delicious, and I'm gonna move right along. Now, I have discovered that salad greens do tend to run right through me, as TMI as that sounds, but that is the reality for me. And it caused it was a moment of pause as I was looking at it, and I thought, oh well, we're just gonna move right along. They have plenty of bathrooms in this house. We're just gonna keep on chugging. And she made a delicious salad. It was beautiful, and I told her as much, and she was like, I just love salad. And I said, I think that's fantastic. And it's just those little things with relationships that you really have to weigh it out and decide, is it more valuable in this moment to disrupt, or is it better to be flexible? I've actually won the non-official award in my family, my husband's side of the family, as the most flexible person, just because of how often we've moved, how often we have just like been able to just like pick up and go do something. And I do pride myself, as terrible as the word pride can be, I do pride myself on being super flexible and go with the flow. And a little bit of that comes from being so prepared and having like so much knowledge about, okay, we can do these things. I know how this goes. I don't have to overthink everything anymore because it's so second nature. And knowing that, you know, we can pack up on a whim and go away for a weekend or for a week or whatever, and it's all going to be great. It's going to be fine and dandy. We're going to come right back. We're going to pick up where we left off. And, you know, it's a good time. I have a lot of practice in being flexible and adaptable. Neely has said that she loves salad so much. Despair face. I can enjoy it. My husband, he actually said to me the other day, he said, wow, we haven't had salad greens in like forever. And I said, I don't like them in the winter time. It's just not something that I gravitate towards. It doesn't look good in the winter. It's just not a cold weather food to me. And now that it's warming up, he's like, yeah, but I love salad. And I'm like, but the thing is if you're traveling, I'm not going to go buy a bunch of salad greens that are going to go bad before you come home. So, you know, he gets to be flexible in that respect. I would argue my husband is very flexible as far as life is concerned and as far as dietary options are concerned, because he will happily chow down on all the tortilla chips that are available if given the opportunity. He is all about that tortilla relationship life. Oh, Neely. She says that she works so hard to get herself to like salad. Ugh. Well, that's sad. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, it's kind of like a wasted effort. Okay, I'm a sip of coffee. Oh, my stars. Do y'all have situations where you have had to make the decision to be flexible instead of creating ripples in the pond that are unnecessary? I I have frequently been that person. I'm a pretty combative person overall, but I have learned in my 38 years of life that I have won so many more people over to my way of thinking by just living it and not talking about it. And by living it out quietly, it's much more well received and it's noticed whenever that person is ready to notice it. So that's kind of, oh, I wish I could rewind and just remember the previous part of my statement. Wow. I'm sorry, comments started coming in for a second and I totally lost it. So sorry. Judy says it's so true on the standard American diet eating. Yes. Mathematics professor, hello. You would like to consume as much processed food as possible for, oh, you would like me to do that. Well, that's a fascinating challenge and no. And then Kim F, no, you have not had to be flexible. I'm trying to remember my question, which is very frustrating at this point. Suzanne, you love salads but hate having the greens wilt. You only eat carbs once or twice a week. Ketovore is so much easier. I agree with you with all my heart, all my little pea pick and heart. I agree with you. Ketovore makes life very boring and very easy. And it's kind of like the concept of having a standard uniform for your day if you are, whatever it is you're doing. If you are a stay-at-home mom, having those same like bottoms and shirts that you go to every day so you don't have to think about getting dressed in the morning, you just do it. That's kind of the way I see eating boringly. Did I turn that into an adverb? I don't know. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm also getting notifications that more of my books are coming in. We are planning out next year's school curriculum and I've got my entire cart just waiting to be ordered. And I'm like, do I place the order now or do I wait till we get to the new house and then have it shipped directly there where I have a schoolroom space to unload all the things? I'm jazzed about new curriculum. Yeah, a little bit of a curricula nerd. Kim F says no to processed foods. Yes, you and I shall sit in that same circle of the Venn diagram where it's like sometimes no, yes, we'll sit there in the no. It's a no. Although we did need to be a little bit flexible, being flexible again with our car snacks. I prepped a bunch of car snacks because we did have about a week, 10 days or so that we knew ahead of time that we were going to go to visit family and the dates were going to work out. I went ahead and I hard boiled a dozen eggs. I had cheese sticks for my husband and the girls. I had a whole bunch of lunch meat and sliced cheese. I brought homemade mayonnaise. I brought homemade ranch, or not homemade ranch. They wanted the store-bought that one. And then what else did I have? I brought our bubblies. We had a car cooler that is a great cooler. Love the thing. Got it at Walmart last summer, I think. And so we have that. We had our dry goods. I had in there, I did buy some actual off-the-shelf processed keto-ish snacks, keto labeled snacks like the high key cookies, some Lily's chocolate bars because my husband loves those. And I also bought some turkey sticks, the kind of like the shelf stable little shorty turkey sticks. I had, oh gosh, I had pork rinds in there. I had something else in there. Oh, Quest. So, you know, Quest makes their cookies and then they have these little like cookie cake things that kind of looked like a little, a Pedophore or not Pedophore, Pedophore. Is it a Pedophore or a Pinafore? Pinafore is clothing. Pedophore, I think, is a small cake. Like a little tea cake is what it looked like. We went off on a few rabbit trails in that line of reasoning. The long and the short of it was we did eat some of those those keto-friendly processed snacks on the road because those were what we could have that would be shelf stable in the car. And my homemade chocolate, I'm still trying to figure out a shelf stable, good tasting chocolate that I can make. I've come pretty close, but it's also something I don't have a ton of time to manage right now, as indicated by the previous discussion of where my time is being spent. So, at least in this season of life. Hopefully in the new house, it'll all settle down. Hello, Alan. Alan from Alan's Awesome Keto World. You try not to eat any processed food, but sometimes you don't have an option, but it's rare. And I totally agree with you, Alan. That is exactly the way it is for us right now. I don't like to eat the Lily's chocolate chips. I don't like to eat the Lily's bars or the Quest peanut butter cups or any of, they've got like 1,000 different variety of those Atkins bars and sweets and things like that. Quest chips, I don't eat those anymore. I don't eat hardly any processed foods. But when I'm trying to be flexible and there is a scenario where we're traveling, I am willing to go lax on a few of those sort of rigid areas in my life so that it makes my life a little simpler and a little bit more enjoyable. In the past, I have gone through and I have baked up a ton of cookies that are my homemade chocolate chip cookie recipe. I have put together, anytime I put together any kind of a candy, it's not as well managed during a travel session, no matter what I do. So I try not to do that, but I do sometimes make my own crackers. I have a cereal that I make. I have dry goods that I do make, and having a dehydrator helps tremendously. Like you can see that the dehydrator's in that room or not. But this go around, season of life we're in, trying to finish up this homeschooling things, trying to pack up so we can move to the new house, trying to edit all of the things that we have, cultivate. Oh, Judy, you've got to go. Thanks for hanging out for so long. I'll see you whenever I pop back on again. So I've got a lot of things kind of happening. We've got another property where we're trying to turn it over, and it's just a lot going on. And then the traveling. So I just kind of decided that spending the extra money instead of spending my finite time was the better choice for this trip. Yeah. And while we were gone, my husband, he was like, I think I'm going to go buy some Rebel ice cream and a Quest pizza for when we do Quest night, or a pizza night. I was like, okay, here comes the cravings, but we're going to chug along. No, it turned out just fine and dandy. And I have discovered that I am able to practice more moderation the deeper into this Ketovore way of life goes. And I'm really more willing to say, I know exactly what that does to me. I'm going to say no altogether, or I'm going to take a small amount and then be all done, because the fallout from this one little food item is not worth it. And that's taken me years. It's taken me years to move from a standard American diet to the Weston A. Price Foundation, and then just kind of learning my way all the way through to where we are now with my way of eating as a ketovore. So it's a process, and I've had to be flexible. And yeah, so boring, flexible, or adaptable, whatever you want to say, those two pieces of the puzzle really go a long way in the longevity of being able to eat and sustain this way of life. So I want to know if y'all have any thoughts you'd like for me to share, or thoughts that you would like to share with me, rather, flip-flopping those things in my brain, or any questions that I can answer for you or pose to the observers of this chat. And if not, then I am going to skedaddle on out of here and finish up my coffee and go drool over my homeschool curricula in my cart on the website. Just breathe my coffee. Oh, my stars. Well, hello. I don't know that I can pronounce your YouTube name. I just breathed in coffee. Oh, that was exciting. Okay, y'all. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and leave you here. I really appreciate you joining me for this live stream. Suzanne says, have a great day, everyone. Yes, as I tear up for physiological reasons, not emotional. If you are watching the replay, I appreciate your time so much. Those of you who've been here live, thank you so much. And I hope to see y'all in my next video.